Excluded from my granddaughter's wedding, I discovered an incredible life-transforming truth. Joe sat alone at his kitchen table, the weight of silence heavy in the air. A month ago, he had been buzzing with excitement about his granddaughter Lily's upcoming wedding. Now, the stark reality of being uninvited crushed him. His heart felt like a withered leaf in the autumn breeze, discarded and forgotten. He replayed the harsh words of his son, clipped and cold, laced with family resentment born from misunderstandings. "You can't come. It's for the best." Just like that, his family, once a source of pride, had splintered into pieces. As the wedding day approached, isolation wrapped around him like an old, tattered blanket. Joe took to wandering the familiar streets of his small Midwestern town, where values of family, honor, and community still thrived. He didn't see the vibrant colors of summer anymore, just shadows and reminders of laughter that echoed off the brick walls of his past. He stopped at the diner where he had spent countless mornings. Old friends greeted him with warm smiles, their laughs cutting through the fog of his sorrow. "Hey, Joe. How are ya?" Tom, a fellow veteran, asked, his eyes lighting up. As they sat together, sharing coffee and stories, Joe felt a flicker of warmth reignite in his chest. "You know, our families aren't perfect," Tom said, his voice steady. "But we can't lose the love amidst the chaos." Every familiar face in that diner opened Joe's heart a little more. He listened to their struggles, their triumphs, and he found solace in shared experience. He realized he wasn't alone in his grief. The town had forged ahead, grappling with life's challenges just like him. Each connection breathed life back into his weary soul, each conversation revealing a thread of resilience, a shared humanity that fortified his spirit amidst economic hardship. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as Joe began to feel an inextinguishable hope, the unthinkable happened. He discovered Lily's wedding would be held at the local community center, the very backdrop of his fondest memories. The air tensed around him. Could he face them? Could he allow the hurt to vanish like the morning fog? The thought threw him into a tumultuous whirlwind of emotions. He gathered his courage and decided to make his way there, heart pounding, anger and longing swirling together. Arriving at the venue, Joe spotted Lily in her wedding gown, ethereal and radiant. And there was his son, the hard lines of his jaw betraying a battle of emotions. It all felt surreal, like standing in quicksand, every moment pulling him deeper. Joe's breath caught in his throat, every past hurt bared like fresh wounds, waiting for acknowledgement. This was the moment for vulnerability, the moment for truth where words unspoken awaited. As he stepped forward, the silence engulfed him, like a tidal wave coming to wash away the sandcastles of pride standing between him and his family. Would he be able to forgive? Would they embrace the love they had almost lost? The tension simmered. Joe stood at the precipice, desperately hoping to rebuild the bridge to his family, heart racing, not just for himself, but for the love of a grandfather longing to reclaim his place in the world. Joe's heart raced as he took a tentative step forward. The room was filled with joyful chatter, yet to him, it felt like an echoing void. He was on the outside, staring in at the warmth and love surrounding Lily and her soon-to-be husband. The memories of past celebrations flooded back, birthdays, holidays, laughter ringing through the air. But those memories became bitter, tasting of longing and regret. His eyes locked onto Lily, radiant and glowing in her wedding dress. She twirled, excitement sparkling in her eyes, and Joe's breath hitched. She looked just like her mother did that old winter night, dancing around the living room to their favorite songs. For a second, time stood still. Then Joe saw his son, a familiar silhouette filled with tension. Joe's heart twisted painfully. How had it come to this? How could the love he had nurtured become so frail? Yet, standing before Lily's happiness, the impulse for connection surged within him. A flicker of hope ignited, battling the shadows that threatened to overwhelm him. "Grandpa." The clear voice of a little girl broke through the haze. It was Sarah, Lily's cousin, tugging at Joe's sleeve. "Are you going to dance with us?" Joe knelt to her level, his heart melting with her innocence. I don't know, honey. Please. You always dance the best," she begged, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Her small, fragile hand fit perfectly in his, anchoring him to the moment. "All right, sweetheart," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. With her leading the way, Joe followed her toward the dance floor, each step a newfound courage. As he found himself surrounded by joyful family, Joe glanced around. Who would have thought that the pure heart of a child could momentarily dissolve the walls he had built? His son's eyes darted to him, surprise flickering across his face, replacing the tension with uncertainty. A silence hung in the air as he approached them. Joe's throat tightened, a painful lump lodged firmly. He felt out of place, yet the warmth of the moment enveloped him. There, amidst the laughter, he could see glimmers of forgiveness in his son's eyes. "Dad," his son began, but the words hung there, caught in the web of their shared past. "I'm sorry," Joe blurted out, his voice breaking. "I never meant to hurt you. I thought I was doing my best." At that moment, the dance floor became a spotlight of shared history, where the painful scars of the past could be acknowledged, just like the joyful memories. "We can work through this," his son said softly, a crack forming in the armor of years gone by. The crowd faded into the background as the weight of family loomed ever larger before them. The chaos of the wedding blurred, but Joe felt a warmth spreading through him. Here, with his family, everything could mend if only they could embrace the truth that they all loved, despite the mistakes. As the music faded, a sudden burst of laughter rose from the crowd, pulling him back. Joe took a deep breath, looking around at the dancing couples, at Lily, her smile like a beacon. Then he turned back to his son, his heart pounding with anticipation. "Can we try again?" he asked, his voice steady now. But before his son could reply, a commotion erupted at the edge of the dance floor. A figure strode in, face shadowed but familiar. Joe's heart dropped, dread settling in his stomach. Who was it? And why did their arrival feel like a storm brewing on the horizon? As the figure stepped into the light, Joe's pulse quickened. It was George, an old family friend, but there was something unsettling about his demeanor. With a frown etched onto his face, he scanned the room until his eyes landed on Joe. "Joe," George called out, his voice cutting through the music like a knife. The lively atmosphere around them stuttered and nearly ground to a halt as heads turned towards the unexpected disruption. Stunned, Joe took a breath. "What are you doing here?" The room seemed to hold its breath. Silence. The laughter faded, and anticipation hung heavy in the air. The whispers began among family and friends, confused murmurs rustling like leaves caught in a gust of wind. "I came to find you," George replied, stepping closer, his urgency palpable. "It's about Lily. You need to hear this." Joe felt a knot tighten in his chest. "What about Lily?" George's facial expression shifted, concern furrowing his brow. "I'm not sure how to say it, but there are things that ran deeper than we all thought. Things you should know." The words landed like stones, heavy and jarring. Joe's thoughts raced. He thought about Lily, her smile, her joy. She deserved this day to be perfect, without shadows creeping in from the past. "There's no reason to ruin her wedding," Joe snapped, defensive. His instincts kicked in, hell-bent on protecting his daughter. He wanted to retreat, draw the curtain back over the drama that threatened to crash into their moment. "Just hear me out," George insisted. "This isn't about ruining anything, it's about the truth. I wouldn't bring this up if it wasn't important." The tension in Joe's shoulders eased ever so slightly. He briefly looked at his son, who'd taken a step back, his own anxiety written across his face. This wasn't how the day was supposed to unfold. Joe studied George's expression, gauging whether it was worth the risk. "Fine. Let us talk," he said reluctantly, motioning toward a quieter corner of the hall, away from the joyful chorus of the wedding. Each step dragged like leaden weights as he crossed the dance floor, his heart thumping louder than the music. He gestured for George to follow. Once out of earshot, he turned to George, extending his hands in frustration. "What is it? What could possibly be so crucial right now?" George took a breath, summoning the courage to share what he knew. "It's about Lily's mother and your son. There's more to the history than you've been led to believe." Joe felt the floor shift beneath him. 1,000 thoughts spun through his mind, fear mixing with curiosity. "What are you talking about? You remember how things ended back then?" George leaned in, lowering his voice. "You thought you knew the whole story. But there's a part you never learned." The music, the laughter, all faded away into a distant memory. Joe's heart raced, pounding in his chest like it was trying to break free. What secrets had been buried? What truths had been kept hidden all this time? He stared into George's eyes, searching for answers. "What is it?" He pressed again. But before George could respond, a sudden loud crash echoed through the reception hall. Joe turned to see Lily, her face pale, eyes wide, as she pointed toward the entrance. "Dad!" she cried, her voice trembling. "You need to come back." An inexplicable dread twisted in Joe's gut. What had happened now? Why did it feel like the very foundation of his family was unraveling before him? He glanced back at George, who wore an expression that answered all his questions. Dread realized, but entwined with an urgency that pulled him forward. "Let us go," Joe said, and they rushed back toward the chaos, feeling the weight of the unknown pressing down on them like a dark cloud ready to burst. Joe pushed through the throng of guests, their joyful faces blurred in his mind as panic surged within him. Each step was heavier than the last, weighted by fear and dread. Lily stood near the entrance, her face pale against the draping lights of the hall. The laughter that had filled the space moments ago now faded into an ominous silence, as guests clustered together, pointing toward something outside. Joe could see the tension ripple through them. The music had stopped, swallowed into the air as the room turned to collective concern. "What is it, honey?" Joe asked, his voice fraying at the edges. The world around him felt unreal, like a scene pulled from a surreal film. It's Mom," Lily stammered, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "She's here." The words struck Joe like a blow, for he hadn't thought about Lily's mother on this day, this sacred day meant only for celebration. The memories had been tucked away, painful and jagged like broken glass. He'd spent years creating distance from that part of their life, yet now it loomed like an uninvited ghost. "What do you mean, she's here?" Joe's voice cracked. Lily swallowed hard, her gaze darting toward the open entrance, the last rays of sunlight spilling in. "She's standing outside. She wants to talk to you. To us. I think she didn't want to come, but she had to. I couldn't stop her." George's presence was a silent weight at Joe's side, his expression grave. This isn't the time he started, but Joe's focus was far away, locked on the thing that threatened to unravel the life he'd painstakingly crafted for Lily. "Lily," he said, ignoring George. "Are you sure you want to do this?" "Yes. I mean, no." She took a breath, her voice dropping. "Dad, I've never met her. I don't even remember what she looks like. But it's my wedding day. Please." The word "please" hung between them, heavy with emotion. Time seemed to stretch, and in the depths of his heart, Joe felt a surge of his own unresolved feelings. Regret mingled with hope, as if the two were tangled threads waiting to be unraveled. He looked back at George, who wore a pained expression but nodded subtly, as if to say it was time. Joe's heart raced, battling against the instinct to shield his daughter from whatever truth awaited them. "Okay," he conceded, steeling himself. "Let us go." As they stepped outside, the air shifted. A woman stood just beyond the threshold, her silhouette stark against the setting sun. Her hair fluttered in the breeze, and for a moment, Joe felt rooted to the spot. This woman, Lily's mother, looked both familiar and foreign. "Joe," she said softly, pain lacing her voice. "Can we talk?" The crowd inside, the music that once pumped life into the evening, all faded into a mere backdrop. Joe focused on the woman before him, feeling the weight of years, of choices made, and the unseen scars that had shaped their family. With Lily beside him, he took a cautious step forward. "What do you want to say?" Her eyes shimmered with tears, pleading and regretful, but then something unexpected flickered behind her gaze, a promise of answers to questions Joe never dared to ask. As the last light of day slipped away, Joe felt a mix of dread and anticipation. Only time would reveal the truths that lay ahead, but he couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. What secrets would she unleash? Joe prepared himself, knowing the past was knocking, demanding to be faced. Could he finally confront the shadows? Would this moment shatter his family's fragile peace or transform it entirely? The silence hung thick between them, filled with unsaid words and a weight of history. Joe's heart thudded in his chest, echoing the confusion and anxiety that clamored for attention. Lily stood close, her fingers intertwined with his, a tangible reminder of what was at stake. "Joe," Lily's mother said, stepping slightly closer, the sun casting a golden hue around her. "I know I made choices that hurt you both. But I've changed. I had to come today, of all days, to let you know. I'm sorry." The sincerity in her voice felt like a soft breeze, brushing against Joe's defenses. But the remnants of anger and betrayal ran deep, simmering just beneath the surface. "You're sorry?" he echoed, disbelief curling his lips. "You left without a word, without thinking about how it would tear apart our lives. Do you know how much heartbreak can fit into those moments?" "I do now," she said, her voice breaking. "Every day since then has been full of regret. I thought I was doing what was best for everyone, but I see now how wrong I was." Lily squeezed Joe's hand, grounding him. He glanced downward, taking in her anxious expression as she searched for understanding. This was her mother, half of her identity, but it was hard for Joe to reconcile that with the pain she had caused. "I've spent years trying to be better," the woman continued, a tremor of vulnerability in her tone. "If you could only see. I've spent countless nights dreaming of this moment. Of being here with you both. And now, when it finally happens." She paused, her breath hitching. "I'm terrified." Joe shifted his weight, wrestling with a whirlwind of emotions. Okay, here was the moment they had to reckon with reality, both their realities. But was it fair to Lily to dredge up this painful past on her wedding day? He felt protective, instinctually wanting to shield her from any hurt. "Maybe I should have listened to you when you said that you didn't want to see her," Joe said finally, his voice firm yet trembling. "But you're here now, and Lily deserves to hear your side of things. But it needs to happen now, and then we need to be done with it." Lily nodded, her blue eyes wide with hope. "I want to know who you are, Mom. Not just the woman who left." Her mother's lips quivered, a flicker of a smile breaking through her tears. "Then let's start with that. I want to tell you everything." As they stood beneath a fading sky, the world around them vanished. Joe felt time still as he watched his daughter's face, eager yet uncertain. Struggling to connect those dots between the past and present, the heaviness lifted, replaced by something new, a fragile thread of reconciliation. But just as her mother began to speak, a sudden commotion erupted from the other side of the crowd. Gasps broke out like wildfire, flooding the air with confusion. Heads turned, and Joe's stomach dropped at the sight of another group approaching, one that seemed all too familiar. "Dad!" Lily cried, her voice rising in urgency, cutting through the growing chaos. Just as the truth of one reunion seemed within reach, another confrontation threatened to upend everything they were trying to build. Wait. What's happening? Joe demanded, the thrill of uncertainty prickling his skin. What new storm was brewing on this already tumultuous day? Could they survive this onslaught of old wounds and new revelations? As the tumult grew louder, Joe felt a chill run down his spine. He could only hope that truths both tough and tender were about to converge in ways he never anticipated. What would they reveal? Lily's eyes widened as she scanned the crowd, desperation etched on her face. I didn't invite him. He shouldn't be here. Joe's heart raced, caught between the unpredictable turn of events. He turned to look at the approaching figure, a man with familiar features, hunched shoulders, and a stormy expression that suggested chaos. This was her father, the man who had walked away without a second thought. The rift in Lily's world seemed to rip open again. As he drew closer, murmurs swirled around them. What's he doing here? Someone whispered. Others nudged friends, their expressions a mixture of shock and concern. Joe felt an urge to step in front of Lily, to shield her from whatever darkness her father might bring. Just hold on, he murmured, his eyes fixed on the advancing figure. Enough. Her mother suddenly shouted, breaking the tense silence. You have no right to be here, not today. It felt like a punch in the gut. The angry words sliced through the plea she had just made moments earlier for forgiveness and understanding. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, tension thick in the air. Don't you tell me where I can or can't be. He barked back. This is my daughter's wedding. I'll be damned if I just stand back and watch from the shadows. Joe stepped forward, every muscle in his body tense. This isn't the time or place. You had your chance, and you threw it away. Leave. Now. Lily looked from her father to her mother, panic lighting her features. What are you doing, Dad? You didn't even bother to call. And now, showing up like this? Her voice was wavering, caught between anger and a sad longing. Do you think you can just barge in and pretend everything is fine? The man opened his mouth to respond, but the weight of the moment hung like an anchor. I thought I'd get a second chance, he said quietly, the fight in him seeming to drain away. When I heard you were getting married, I couldn't stay away. Why now? She shot back, disbelief coating her words. Why after so many years? Her father faltered, rubbing the back of his neck nervously as he struggled for an answer. I thought if I waited long enough, you would understand. Understand what? Lily pressed, her heart pounding visibly in the remnants of love that still battled with legacy. That you can just appear like nothing ever happened? Hey! Joe interjected, feeling the tempest of emotions brewing between them. No more sidestepping. Today is about Lily. Either you have something honest to say, or you need to leave. At that moment, Lily clutched Joe's hand tighter, drawing in a shaky breath. Ice and fire were battling in her eyes, and Joe felt a huge weight on her. He wished he could take it away, that he could shield her completely from the heartache that family sometimes brings. But this was her fight too. A silence fell as if the crowd had collectively exhaled. Every ounce of attention was pinned on the four of them, two mothers, an estranged father, and a daughter caught in between. Then Lily spoke, her voice clear and steady. I want to know. Is there a piece of you left that cares? Because if you're here, I need to see it. Right now. The grown man blinked, seemingly unprepared for her boldness. The murmur of the crowd faded into the background as everyone leaned in, waiting for a response. Would he rise to the moment, or flee yet again? Just when it felt like the weight of expectation might crush them, he opened his mouth. What revelation would come next? Would it bring them closer or tear them apart even more? Lily, her father began, but the words stumbled out before he could shape them into something meaningful. The silence around them deepened, throbbing with the tension of years lost. What? You thought showing up would somehow erase all that time? All the hurt? Lily's voice cracked, the raw emotion slicing through the air. You left us. You made your choice to walk away. His shoulders sagged under the weight of her words. The crowd held their breath, each person a silent witness to the fragile bridge between past and present. I know I messed up, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. But I've changed. For a long time, I didn't believe I deserved to see you again. I couldn't bear the thought of what I had done. As he glanced away, shame colored his features. Joe watched the scene unfold, caught between the words and the palpable hurt surrounding them. The unknowns rolled like storm clouds overhead, threatening to unleash a downpour of feelings. Changed? Changed how? Lily pressed, the edge of pain lacing her tone. You think saying that is enough to convince me? Lily, I want. His voice broke. I want to be here today. To see you happy. It's why I came. I have a lot to make up for. Can you at least give me a moment? A moment. It sounded so simple, yet the weight of those words pressed heavily on their hearts. Lily turned to Joe, her eyes searching for reassurance. He squeezed her hand tighter, trying to share his strength with her. Maybe we can talk later. But right now? This is about me and the man I chose, Dad. There was a hint of determination in her voice, a sign of the woman she had grown into. Just then, her mother stepped forward, a protective wave in her stance. What you want, it doesn't come easy. You've hurt her. You can't just become a father again overnight. Not after disappearing. I know, he said, his expression softening as he faced Lily's mother. I know it's not fair to ask for forgiveness. But I'm asking for a chance to say I'm sorry, to fix what's broken. Joe felt the room tense again, caught between two women who had endured so much pain. The fissures in their family line started to widen again, threatening to swallow them whole. You think this is about you? Lily seethed. You think you can just show up, take a moment, and make it okay? It's not that easy. Her words echoed through the crowd, everyone crowded closer, hungry for honesty, like moths drawn to a flame. The murmurings grew again, a blend of empathy and astonishment swirling in the air. Her father took a step forward, tears glimmering in his eyes. I'm here, Lily. I'm here because I want to be part of your life again. I need you to know that I care now more than ever. Caring isn't enough, she shot back. Not after everything. Silence rested heavily on them like a thick blanket, as though they were teetering on the edge of a precipice. The truth hung in the air, electric and raw. Part of Lily still yearned for her father's love, but the devastation of his absence weighed too heavily. Was forgiveness possible? Could she allow herself a sliver of hope, or was this reunion a step back into the abyss? As the crowd shifted, some moved closer, catching whispers of encouragement to Lily, while others looked away, unsure of how to navigate this personal storm. Joe felt the heartache mushrooming around them. Lily took a deep breath, steadying herself. I don't know if I can trust you if I even want to. But if you really mean what you said, it'll take more than just words. Then, what do you need from me? He sounded desperate, caught between searching for redemption and facing the ghost of failure. In that pivotal moment, Lily's emotions threatened to unravel. She tightened her grip on Joe's hand, her heart racing. You have to prove it. Show me you're here for the right reasons. Show me you want to be my father. Just when it seemed like a path was starting to clear, her father's face twisted with uncertainty. Would he find a way to prove himself? Or would this moment shatter like all the others that had come before? Lily felt the heat of the crowd pressing in on her, wrapping around them like a thick fog. She could hear muffled whispers, the mix of curiosity and sympathy filling the air. Her heart pounded against her ribcage, raw and exposed, every beat echoing with doubt. Prove it, she repeated, each word anchored in need and uncertainty. What does that even mean? How can I trust you when you've been gone for so long? Her father hesitated, pain flickering over his face like a shadow. I can show up, I can be there for you, but it'll take time. Give me a chance time? She interrupted, voice rising again. You took time away from us. You don't get to decide when and how much time we need. Joe shifted beside her, sensing the electricity crackling around them. He could feel her tension, and despite the weight of the moment, he found himself wanting to help her find the words that captured her hurt. Did you even think about how your absence affected me? Lily's voice trembled, a thin veneer of composure beginning to crack. Birthdays, graduations, all the moments you missed. You dropped out, uncaring, and now you want to stroll back in and pretend everything's fine? Tears pooled in her father's eyes. I thought of you every day. Every day, I regretted leaving, but it's not just about the past. I'm here now. I want to be part of your future. Just let me show you. I don't even know who you are anymore, she replied, her voice steadying as she stared him down. You want me to give you a chance, but I don't know if you deserve it. How do I know this isn't just a moment for you? A fleeting thought to ease your guilt? The room was charged, the audience holding their breath again. Lily felt the gravity of her words hanging between them. She wanted him to beg, to plead, but somewhere inside, part of her wished for a miracle, a sign that maybe, just maybe, they could mend the broken pieces. Her mother's hand brushed against her arm, a silent reminder of the love that had always been there. You don't have to do this now, Lily, her mother murmured. You have so much within you that deserves to be protected. I know, she whispered back, her heart aching. But it's also a part of me, the part that wants to see if there's something left to salvage. But there's only so much trust to give, her mother cautioned. Don't lose yourself in the process. The crowd began to murmur again, ripples of conversation swirling. Lily's father stood before her, a man she barely recognized, eyes wide with desperation. Please, let me show you, he said quietly, voice quivering. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I know it won't be easy, but I'm here now. Lily took a step back, the emotional distance between them feeling like a chasm. The uncertainty burned in her chest. Could she accept even the slightest hope that this could change? What if I let you try? She challenged, her pulse racing. What would that look like? I'll be there, he promised, vulnerability evident in his expression. I'll show up. I'll call. I'll listen. I'll commit. But I need you to be open too. It has to go both ways. The words hung in the air, a tentative bridge to an unknown future. Did she dare take his hand? The room around them pulsed with anticipation, as though everyone felt the weight of this ultimate choice. And in that moment, Lily realized she was standing at a precipice. She could leap into the unknown, or she could pull back to safety. The choice was hers, but which way would she turn? As she stood there, lost in thought, Joe squeezed her hand tighter, offering silent support. Would she allow this wounded connection a chance to heal? Just then, a soft cry broke the air. A young girl in the crowd cried out, drawing everyone's focus. Are you mad at my daddy? He loves you. That simple truth landed heavy in the charged atmosphere, and all eyes turned to the little girl, whose innocence deflected the weight of the moment. Lily's heart softened, a crack forming in the armor she'd built. Would that truth be strong enough to pull her back from the edge? Or would she continue to protect what was left of her heart? The decision loomed large, and she felt the world hold its breath, waiting for her answer. Lily's gaze flickered away from her father, toward the little girl who had spoken up. The innocence in that small face challenged her emotions, making her heart ache. The question hung in the air, a vibrant, shimmering thread connecting them all in this moment. How could she not feel something? Her father's eyes glistened with unshed tears, a profound plea etched on his features. She looked back at him, searching for signs of sincerity. Deep down, a part of her wanted to believe him. Could love really conquer all these years of hurt and silence? Do you really love me? She asked, her voice trembling. The crowd seemed to hold its breath, waiting for an answer that could shift the course of their lives. Yes, Lily. I love you more than words can say, he replied, desperation clawing at his throat. I know I messed up, but I want to make amends. I want to be there for you. All I need is a chance. A ripple of murmurs passed through the crowd. Lily felt the warmth of voices. Some were sympathetic, others skeptical. She understood both sides. There was anger in her heart, but now there was something else too, a flicker of hope mingling with a longing for connection. Sounds great in theory, doesn't it? She replied, biting back the waves of hurt. But I need actions, not just words. How can I trust any of this? How do I know this isn't just a show for the crowd? The young girl chimed in again. You can give him a chance. Please. Her small face was earnest, eyes wide and round, like a puppy begging for warmth. Lily could feel warmth creeping into her chest, even if it felt terrifying. It's not just about me, she said, glancing at Joe. How is any of this going to affect him? I'll support whatever you need, Joe said quietly, his eyes sincere as they met hers. We're in this together. Lily's breath caught, and for a moment, she basked in the safety of his presence. His strength bolstered her decision. Maybe, just maybe, she would be able to bridge these gaps, however fragile they might be. Tentatively, she turned back to her father. If I do this, if I let you try, you need to understand that it won't be easy for me. I can't forget the past, but I can try to take a step toward the future. I need to see you keep your promises. A shadow of relief broke over her father's face. I promise, he whispered, voice steadying with determination. The crowd erupted into a mixture of gasps and soft claps, the tension easing as murmurs of support floated around them. Lily took a deep breath, still feeling the weight of uncertainty but finding a flicker of courage. This leap felt monumental, like jumping off a cliff into the open sky. You really want back in my life? She asked, her heart pounding in anticipation. I do, he affirmed, eyes fierce now with resolve. I'll show you, Lily. I'll do whatever it takes. Joe squeezed her hand once more, grounding her in that moment. As she stood before her father, the heaviness of past pain began to lift ever so slightly. Could this moment be a turning point? Was she ready to take the first step toward healing, both for herself and for the man standing in front of her? Just as she opened her mouth to speak again, the little girl piped up once more. Can we go get ice cream after? It'll be like a party for the whole family. Lily couldn't help but smile, the innocence cutting through the tension. This was about beginnings, wasn't it? Just as she started to nod, a loud crash echoed from the back of the hall, a sudden surge of chaos, like a storm breaking out of nowhere. Everyone turned to see what had happened. What now? Lily's heart raced. Would this be another chance at connection snuffed out too soon? Or was it just the beginning of something different? As the last echoes of the crash reverberated through the hall, all eyes turned to the source of the ruckus. A table had toppled over, dishes scattered, and laughter morphed into nervous whispers. Joe's heart sank, recognizing the fear and tension creeping back into the atmosphere. Just a little slip, someone declared. But the air was thick with uncertainty, the earlier triumphant moment at risk of being lost in another wave of chaos. Joe instinctively moved closer to Lily, feeling the weight of her hand in his, steadying them both amidst the swirling confusion. We've come too far to let this ruin a moment, he muttered, eyes flicking between Lily and her father, a mixture of determination and fear flooding his heart. Taking a deep breath, Joe turned back to the crowd, feeling the urge to rally those around him. It's just a table. Let us focus on the good stuff today. Let us remember why we're here. Slowly, the crowd began to settle, drawn back from the edge of anxiety. Laughter bubbled up unexpectedly, piecing together shattered nerves like a fragile tapestry of memories. Yet, in that moment of reprieve, Joe knew the tension wouldn't just vanish. "Let us go dance," someone shouted, breaking the ice as people started clapping. Joy returned gradually, like a flower reaching toward sunlight. But for Joe and Lily, the real battle was the one that lay within. As the music began to play again, it felt almost electric, each note wrapping around their hearts. "Dad," Lily whispered. "If we're going to do this, we need to keep talking. We need to stay together." Her father nodded, his brow furrowed with sincerity. "I'll be here. I won't hide this time. I want to help you build something solid like a real father should." "Good," Lily said, her voice firm. "Action over words. You have to show me." And in that moment, something shifted in the air. It was subtle, but it was there, an ember of hope igniting between them. Together, they stepped onto the dance floor, moving cautiously yet aligned. With every swing and step, laughter branched out, reaching those around them like a ripple effect across the surface of a calm lake. "See? This feels good." Joe laughed, glancing over at Lily, whose eyes sparkled with gleeful defiance and a dash of uncertainty. "Just don't step on my toes," she teased, the tension melting as she twirled, her father watching with reverence. The joy in the air shifted heavier, deeper, as the reality of broken relationships and lingering wounds hung above them like clouds threatening to burst. Joe took a bold step forward. "Let us lay it all out. Today is a fresh start, and we can do this if we focus on healing." It was a simple statement, but the significance wrapped itself around them like a warm embrace. He felt his son's hand slip onto his shoulder, joining him and Lily in this newfound dance in acknowledgement of unity. "Together," he said firmly, "we'll face this as a family. No more running away, right?" Lily nodded, conviction in every word. "Together. For us, for our future." Just then, amid the swirling atmosphere of celebration, they turned and saw a familiar face from the crowd. Tom, the fellow veteran from the diner, raising his glass in cheer. "To new beginnings." The room erupted in applause. The energy soared, laughter mingling with optimism. Joe felt the surge of love rushing through, healing the cracks that had once threatened to swallow him whole. "I finally feel like I'm coming home," he acknowledged softly as he leaned into Lily, her beauty radiant against the backdrop of the setting sun streaming through the venue windows. As they twirled and danced, the music played on. It captured every ounce of heartache, every loose end, weaving them into a tapestry of laughter, forgiveness, and love, holding together all the facets of the family that were birthed from the ashes of loss. And there, midst the celebration, Joe slipped forward into the future, a future flooded with potential and littered with truth. From behind, the shadows gradually gave way. United now, they would strive ahead, ready to embrace the challenges, transforming the weight of the past into the strength of commitment and hope for the road ahead. "Let us make this transformation last," he whispered. And so, surrounded by the rhythm of their healing reunion, they danced. Don't wait another moment. You need to subscribe to the channel now to not miss out on future exclusive stories like this one. Liking this video is the moment to show your support, so hit that button right now. Comment below to share your reactions and feelings about this ending. And please, share instantly with at least 5 friends who really need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to make their day.